Today we have the pedalpcb.com Blue Shoe Guy Pan, and it is a clone of the JHS Paul Gilbert PG14, Paul Gilbert's signature drive pedal. Now I am late, crazy late to the Paul Gilbert thing. I always kind of, when I was playing guitar as a 16, 17, 18-year-old, I always thought he was just the guy who did the drill thing. And then, like in the last 5 or 6 years, I've gotten a bunch of his solo albums, and they're really, really phenomenal, and not at all over the top. A little bit over the top, but not crazy over the top. And so yeah, I was really excited to kind of check this out. And what it is essentially is they're reading the JHS website. It's simulating an overdriven amp, and then it's got a boost going into it. So the boost section of this is this push knob. Now, to try to keep this straight, your volume, your tone, and your drive is the distorted kind of amp simulation. The push is the boost going into the distorted amp, and then your mid and your sweep are they're interactive. So the sweep knob, which is what I really like about this, the sweep knob sets the frequencies for which the mid control is, that's the gain control for the mids. So when you have it set here, we're kind of looking at more upper mids, and it's kind of, you can dial in how much of those upper mids you want. And then your volume and your tone are more global controls. So it's a volume, global volume, global tone. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. It was kind of confusing, and it is a lot to get used to. So let's hear it first. Drop D right now. That's my clean, which I'm actually pretty clean today. So we're going to start this bad boy up. And so if we have the push control actually off, nothing comes through. And when I found in kind of trying to get tones and get to know this pedal, keeping that push control at about 9 o'clock is where I really liked it personally, to kind of get a feel for everything. So that's what I'm going to do here to get it started. So we'll put the tone and your sweep and the drive at noon, but keep that push control. So that's a killer sound right there. So let's dial back the drive and keep everything where we're at. So now we're in a clean kind of territory. Let's dial up that push now with the drive a little bit lower. Thing here. Let's turn these mids down. Wow, that sounds great. Okay, so tone, and this is just going to make it a lot brighter. So right there to me is not being a huge distorted, like a metal or that kind of player. That to me is just a great sound. We start dialing back the guitar volume. Now let's kind of get into, that's the drive and the push, let's get into this mid control a little bit. So when we have it set over here now, we're reaching into low mid, so you're going to kind of, it's going to get a little grunty. We'll put this tone back up at noon. So one cool sound that I found farting around with this, turning this push up. So it gets actually almost kind of fuzzy because it's just overloading, you know, the front of the amp, I guess you could say. So you gotta, when you play with this, you gotta be careful because its mid is just can get a little much. That's why almost every time I've played with it, I keep this push, like I said, really below noon. And I'm pushing always more high mid frequencies, keeping the drive kind of low. So I will turn it up here though, we can kind of that's the Paul Gilbert sound. Minus all the wheedly-wheedlies, but it sounds great as a distortion. I really dig it. House is rumbling. So there we are. I mean, I could probably turn knobs and get different sounds out of it all day, which is really the sign of a good pedal, in my opinion. There's a lot built into it, and for being a, 6 knobs, it's not really a super complicated build. There are some J-fits in there. You do have to dial them in. There's internal trimmers, though, that make it super easy, which is why I really like pedalpcb.com pedals or boards, is because they make it, the layouts are really straightforward, and it uses pretty standard parts. It's not like we're dealing with unobtainium here. So, yeah, that is the pedalpcb.com Blue Shoe Guy Pan. Thanks for watching, guys.